Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Come on in. We are going to have a great topic today. This evening, we're going to have a great topic. I'm going to be joined by Dr. Lysa in just a few minutes. We like to get started on time, so she'll be coming in just a few minutes. But welcome, welcome, welcome. We endeavor to share valuable information to help you restart your life. If you've gone through a financial crisis, right? Whether you've had a loss of income due to a death, divorce, illness, injury, layoff, or natural disaster, and you just got to get back on track. Maybe for some, it's starting all over, a new job. Maybe you're now living the single life because you've lost a spouse. Whatever it is, we endeavor to help you. And this week, we're going to be talking about future proofing your life, building resilience before the next crisis. Now, many of you guys know that I am a Jesus lover. I just love God with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And he promises us that we're going to have trials and tribulations. Okay. That's with an S. He said trials with an S and tribulations with an S, meaning there's three types of people. There's someone that has just gotten out of a situation, somebody that's in a situation, or someone that's headed into a situation. Either way, you're probably going to face more than one situation or crisis in your lifetime. And we want to help you build resilience, right? Where you don't panic under pressure. You don't panic under pressure, and you feel comfortable you feel comfortable moving forward because you got the tools and everything to get started. Welcome, Dr. Lysa. And so I was just letting them know our topic is future proofing your life, building resilience before the next crisis. And many of my followers and those that begin to follow after, doing this consistently, because we're promised that we're going to have trials and tribulations. That's with an S. We're going to go through some things. There's three types of people: one that's just gotten out of a situation, one that's in a situation, and then one that may be going into a situation. And you may have more than one in a lifetime. So we want to just help you build resilience before next crisis happen, because if you keep on living, you'll probably encounter another crisis, but you want to be better prepared. So we are going to be talking about, again, this week, future proofing your life, building resilience before the next crisis. So whether you've had a loss of income due to a death, divorce, illness, injury, layoff, or natural disaster, you're going to be well prepared. So I'm going to get started. One of the many of you guys know, if you don't know, my background is mortgage, real estate, insurance. And the first thing to help you future proof your life is really mastering your budget. A lot of times I could tell you this is not something I enjoy doing because I see all the many times that I eat out, which is quite often. Don't leave me out here by myself, but it's the truth. And I gotta just tell the truth, right? So mastering your budget, seeing where you're spending your money, right? So you want to track your income and expenses and cut out unnecessary expenses, right? That inflation lifestyle that you have, maybe some of those high ticket items that you can go without, like you got 99 purses, you can only carry one at a time, maybe a purse and a bag, but you get the point. It can wait. And then also, in mastering your budget, planning for irregular costs. Planning for irregular costs, because things are going to come up. I recently had to purchase a car, and I didn't want to. Um, uh, but it's all good. I was prepared for it. It was okay. But I'm the type of person, I will use a car until I can't use it no more. I'm not trying to get the latest one. I enjoy not having a car payment. Like, it's all good. Like, I keep my maintenance up. It looks good. I keep it washed and all of that. But you need to plan for irregular costs. So for me, it was a car a couple of months ago. For someone else, it may be a washing machine, it may be a dryer. So you want to plan for those things that's going to break down, or may need repair. And you want to just be prepared for it. So really having a solid budget will help you control and stay in control when chaos, when everything seems like it's falling apart. You didn't got the pink slip. Well, no, the pink slip is when you start on your car, but I guess the pink slip when you leave work, right?
That's true,
My
yes.
Look, when they laid me off, it wasn't pink at all. It was a white piece of paper that said, "Sign here. We about to give you your last check." So I don't know where they get the pink slip from, but anyway. So a solid budget helps you to stay in control when chaos is happening, right? When you're getting that bad news, that you know what, we no longer need your services. The second thing is can't stress this enough, and it kind of goes with mastering your budget, is building an emergency fund, right? You want to have about 3 to 6 months worth of expenses, if possible, and start where you are. Whether if you're only able to put $10 aside, let me tell you something. When God sees that you are being faithful and doing what you can do in the natural, he puts his supernatural on there, and it'll go a lot further. He will sustain you in the process, but he's not going to do what we can do, and that he's given us the power to do ourselves, right? So you know how to wake up and brush your teeth in the morning. So he's not going to brush your teeth in the morning, because he's like, I've given you the power to be able to do that yourself. So we want to make sure we have at least about 3 to 6 months of expenses, and have things breaking up. Maybe in your budget you'll have, okay, this is my house budget, okay, this is my eating out budget, or this is my emergency fund. And don't be dipping in other little buckets for other things. We tend to do that. We're like, oh yes, you know what, I didn't spend all the money over here in the emergency fund, so I could use that for eating out. No, 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 you don't want to do that, right? So you have peace of mind when you have an emergency fund. Look, I had peace of mind. Now, I didn't necessarily want to buy a new car, but I had peace of mind because I was able to do it, and it was okay. But it would have been a whole different experience if I wasn't, let's say, prepared, so to speak, that it was able to do it. I had the credit to do it. It would be a little stressful, right? So you want to make sure you have an emergency fund. The other thing is, how do we future proof our mortgage? One of the things is, when you're a homeowner, you want to make sure that your mortgage, as much as it depends on you, that you have a fixed rate. You don't want to have a mortgage where it's variable and it's going up and down with the market. You don't know what you're paying. You're paying $3,000 this month. The next month you're paying $4,500. A lot of people lost their homes during the housing crisis because they got those variable mortgages. They started off with a low interest rate, but they adjusted so much so that it exceeded their income at the time. So you want to make sure you have a fixed rate mortgage. Refinance when you have the ability to refinance. So maybe you start off, you got your house, the interest rates weren't so great. They were set 6%, they were 7%, but you were able to afford the house. When interest rates get better and you have the ability to refinance, don't wait to refinance and say, okay, I'm refinancing because I can't afford my mortgage. No, if there is a chance for you to be able to take advantage of the lowest interest rate, you don't have to be in a crisis to do that. It just makes sense, right? You always want to be looking like, how can I save money? And if I can save money, let me do so, right? So, and avoid late payments. How are we going to avoid late payments? Making sure we have the proper budget, making sure that we're tracking our expenses, because once your credit takes a hit, it takes a hit, and it usually, you can mess up your credit in a month's time. But
Yep.
sometimes it takes, 3 and 6 months to recover from those. Now, sometimes you can go and call those creditors and say, hey, I've never been late before. It was an oversight. Maybe I was traveling. And some of them are gracious. If you've never been late, they'll remove it from your credit report, but you don't want to make that a habit. So you want to make sure you avoid late payments. And they know if there is a one late payment, they realize, okay, this person is really having a hardship. They're not trying to take advantage. They're not trying to circumvent the system. They are really having a challenge, and they're more apt to help you. The other thing to help us future proof our life, and as it relates to our finances, is buying smart. Buying smart.
Like
You do not, I always, when I sit down, especially with people that are interested in buying a property, there is a difference between what you qualify for, how much house you can buy, and what is a comfortable payment for you. Many people, I can approve them to purchase, a 600, 700, $800,000 house. But when you look at the payment associated with that purchase and how much they're willing to put down, they don't want an $800,000 mortgage payment each month, right? So it's important that you buy smart. Just because you can afford it doesn't mean that it's the best thing for you. Your first house may not be your dream home. Just get in the game, right? Stop renting, get in the game. But let's just say you don't own a home right now. The same is true for renting. They have these nice lots, and some of these places are amazing. It's walking distance to your grocery store, and the place is nice, and it may be gated or whatever the amenities are for that community. But you also don't want to max out your budget when you're renting. It's
right,
the same thing.
right.
Every day you wake up, think about this. Every day you wake up, there is so many people, so many companies they are wondering how can they get money from you to them. Every day you wake up,
Yep.
every day, whether it's a commercial, whether you're online, whether you're reading an article, they're talking about the best way to lose weight. They're talking about how to get through menopause, whatever. That everybody has something to offer you to try to get money from your pocket to theirs. Now, your job is to try to keep as much money as you can and not give it up easily or for no just reason, right? So you want to make sure you're buying smart. And if you're buying investments or whatever, have an exit strategy. Even when it comes to renting, having part of future proofing your life is, if you have to start renting, you can't buy right now. If you're renting, have an exit plan, because you may not want to rent the rest of your life, right? So you're like, look, I'm going to do this. I don't feel bad. This is what I can afford. My plan is in 2 years. My plan is in 3 years. I want to move from here and buy something else. So just make sure you buy smart and rent smart. If you're renting, you don't want to max out your budget, because the truth of the matter is, when you max out your budget, guess what? You can't save. You can't save. It's just difficult. You're using everything on your. So many people, especially during the housing crisis, they were getting ready to lose their home, and when they were filling out applications with me and I was having consultations, many of those people were spending like 50% of their income, 45 to 50% of their income on housing alone.
Mhm.
That didn't take into account any credit cards, any car notes,
Yeah.
none of that. It was like 45 to 50%. And this is of their gross income. So
Mhm.
that's even worse, because your gross is not what you take home. So you want to make sure you buy smart, right? You rent smart, that you stay hopefully no more than 31% of your income. But if you have to stretch it a little bit, hopefully you don't have a lot of uh, other debts like loans and credit cards that you're having to contend with. Diversify your income. Maybe Lisa will touch on this. Diversify your income. have a plan to whether you have, as they say, a side hustle or a hobby or merchandise your wisdom. Have a plan where you can add to yourself. Because let's just face it, some of these jobs, they want all of these degrees. Many people have advanced degrees, and their schooling costs more than what they're actually bringing in.
Yeah.
They can't even, they're stuck. Okay, I did higher education. I did everything they told me to do, right? I went to school. I got great grades. I got all these degrees. I invested in myself. And then now what? Now
Right.
I've applied for a job and I got to pay these student loans back if you couldn't pay cash for the school. So you want to make sure that you increase your income in whatever capacity and not just lean on that 9 to 5 or whatever your job is, right? It's okay that you do something else to help fund your dreams, right?
Yeah.
A couple of things that I'll say is make sure that you put money away. You definitely want to save. It may be difficult. I know. It may be you're like, look, I'm on unemployment. I don't have enough to even live. But at the moment that you have a few dollars, I'm telling you, God is faithful. I don't care if it's $5, if it's $10, if it's $50 a month. You put it aside and you watch it grow. You watch it grow. Because you either put it aside or it's going to be in somebody else's pocket. I told you, every day you wake up, there's 50 million people trying to get money from your pocket to theirs, and your job is to keep as much as you have, right? So you want to make sure that you save for rainy days. They're coming. We're not shocked about that. We're not even afraid of that because we know it's coming. It would be one thing if we didn't know that we were going to experience trials and tribulations. It would be one thing if we really felt that, but we already know we're going to go through some stuff. We're just going to, next time around, we're just going to be better, right? So that leads me to my last point, which is plan for the worst. Plan for the worst. When you plan for the worst, if the worst doesn't come, you like are in good shape, right? uh if you plan for the worst, you're much better. People that look ahead, they're like, okay, interest rates are not going to always remain low. What am I going to do? I'm going to take advantage of the low interest rate right now. When they realize, okay, anything can happen. Maybe we're hearing about AI and a lot of jobs are being replaced. And oh my gosh, I was speaking of AI, I had to go to the DMV for one of my clients, and they were like, oh well, we just stopped doing the service that you need. I'm like, okay. So
Wow.
I got a call. I had to call in, and I had looked up everything I need to do. I'm studious. I had everything for my client. Um, and so they said, you got a call. Oh my gosh. Calling the DMV. I was going round and round in circles. I still never talked to nobody, but I was just like, I'm over this. I'm about to do snail mail. I don't care. I'm not going to do. But I say all that to say they're replacing so many of us.
Yeah.
um, I have my thoughts about that, but if they're gonna do it, and if you can't beat them, then what do? You gotta plan for the worst. You gotta look ahead. Okay, how are my skills transferable? What else can I do? Whether it's a side hustle, going into another industry, all of that. So make sure you plan for the worst. You planning for the worst is not you being a Debbie Downer. Okay, it's just saying, look, I know it's gonna rain. You probably have an umbrella in your house. Okay, you may not want it to rain, but one day it will. And you have that umbrella because why? You're prepared for a rainy day. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Lysa, and she's going to give us some insights on her end about future future proofing your life before the
Yeah.
next crisis.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That was so good. I was over here um listening to you, the part where you were talking about don't get behind on those bills. Like I remember when I was really having a hard time and I was like, okay, I'm laid off. if you just call them and talk to them sometimes, like you avoid, and I'm saying I was avoiding their
Yeah.
calls because I was like, I just don't want to talk to them. I don't want to, no, no, no. But just answer. And they have a job to make that payment arrangement with you. So, that's just, yeah, something that really resonated with me because I tell people all the time, just answer the call. People in collections are not out to get you. They want to help you because, so yeah. But anyway, thank you so much for this. So I love this topic because it really speaks volumes to how we don't plan ahead, and we really do need to plan ahead. I was actually I was at a resource fair earlier today, and they had some
Mhm.
earthquake preparedness kits, and it was like a job fair for some of my clients. And I was walking around and I was like, wow, I don't have an earthquake. Like they had all these amazing things in this kit. And I was like, I guess I probably need to do that. But that's the same thing as future proofing. You future proof for an earthquake, you future proof for your home, and then you future proof for your career. And so I have a couple of things that I was just kind of like thinking about and looking up. And so I have a few ways. So number one for me, how to future proof your career is keep learning. Keep learning. Be a lifelong learner. Don't ever get comfortable. If you get comfortable, if you're in your comfort zone, that's where you don't grow, right? And so technology and industries are evolving every single day. So we need to evolve with the technology and with these industries. And we need to continue to remain relevant because, yes, we know AI is taking over, but also the generation behind us are taking over. There's the beta, what is it, the alpha generation, there's
I
all these,
can't even keep up.
there's,
I'm like,
yes, I'm like, I'm
because it
just
don't make
A,
sense. I'm like, could we
B,
just do one, two,
all these
three?
generations. And so, and there was something in the news the other day that was talking about this generation is the highest generation of entrepreneurs because they're not afraid to just take a leap of faith and just figure it out while they're doing it. But I would say to people, do not get comfortable. Take some courses, read a book. Read books are so they're so underused. Like people don't read anymore. We're so used to shorts. But please read one new book or learn one new skill each quarter so that you can really always keep learning. And just ask yourself, what is one thing I can learn today that will help me tomorrow? And I think with me, I consider myself a lifelong learner. So I'm always looking for something. If it's a new word that I don't know, haven't used. I was at a church service on Sunday. My friends, Bishop Ulysses Henderson and Latoya Henderson, they had their anniversary on Sunday. And I was there and I heard the word Christophany. I had never heard that word before. And I was like, wow. And I was so enamored. I went to go look it up and it told me what it was, Christophany. But I learned a new word that day. And so now I try to use it. There's really not a lot of ways to use it unless you're
Right.
having a biblical conversation. But I used it like twice on Sunday, but I was telling someone else about it. But this is my way of just continuous learning and never ever just stop learning. Number two, building some transferable skills. So job change. We may go from one industry to another industry to another industry, but your core skills will travel with you from under one roof to the next roof. So these skills like leadership, critical thinking, problem solving, communication, these things are always in demand. So these are things that we really have to build those skills. Yeah, a lot of us can work on computers, but those, I like to call them, people call them soft skills, but I call them life skills because I went into a group of men and said soft skills, and all of them looked at me like, really? These engineers were like, yeah, we're not soft. And so, so life skills, or AKA soft skills. So think about it like, if your job disappeared today, what skills can I carry into another role? So think about it like that. Number three, expanding our network. And so opportunities that we get, they're usually tied to people and not job postings. And I know this to be so very true. I'm doing some consulting right now. Have my clients, but I'm doing some consulting right now with a nonprofit organization. And the reason I am there is because my really good friend introduced me to the CEO. And I went in to have a meeting with them, and it completely curved into like, hey, we have an opportunity here. Absolutely. So please know that expanding your network and not being afraid to say, you know what, I do need a job, or hey, I would like to do this, and saying those things. So starting to engage with maybe your mentors who have some type of information for you, or some colleagues or some peers that are outside of your current circle. If you're in a circle and you're not getting help from people that are in your circle, expand your network, because networking is not just about asking for jobs, but it's about exchanging values and building trust with other people that are a little bit outside the next layer of your network. Um, Number four, actually, Lacy, you said this: diversifying your streams, diversifying your incomes upstream. So, like Lacy said, relying on one paycheck is really risky, especially in California and especially in today's economy. One paycheck used to be able to pay everybody's bills. You know, I can loan you $20 and pay, bills and double car notes and all these things. But relying on one paycheck in this economy is really risky, which is why I'm going to get to why we need to develop a side hustle, but that's next. But consider small side hustles like consulting or digital products or some type of investment. How can you ask yourself, how can I create income that works for me, even when I'm not working? So, in this side hustle, remember your side hustle isn't just extra income, it's career insurance, and it's a way to future proof your career. So, you
Yeah.
have home insurance, you got car insurance, you got life insurance, you got all these insurances. But think about a side hustle as your career insurance,
I love
because that is something that we as adults, we have our regular job, right? We have what we do every day. We have it, whether we fell into it, whether we really really sought after it and got it, however it is, we have our main job. But your side hustle is usually something that you really really enjoy. It's just, even if it's, I know people who use, beading as their side hustle. I know a lady, she makes beautiful jewelry, and that's like her side hustle. It's her relaxation space. For me, I've had several different side hustles. For me, I think of teaching as my side hustle, and career coaching as one of my side hustles. And so I do a lot of different things where I love to do these things. So your side hustle doesn't necessarily feel like your main job or like it's work you know and so you want to pick something that aligns with purposeful work for you. If you love to talk to people, if you consider consulting, everybody can do some type of consulting. I don't care what your education level is. There are some experience that millennials have that I need. Technology is one of them. Like, if I need to do something technologically savvy, I'm gonna go ask someone that's my daughter's age or younger than her, maybe even younger than my daughter, because they know different things. So ask yourself, what skill do I have already that people would pay me for outside of my 9 to 5? And that could be your side hustle. Number six, prioritizing wellness and adaptability. So we often live out of empty cups. We are so busy in this day and time pouring into other people, pouring into, all the things that are around us. And our career longevity really does depend on our health. If we're not in good health, we won't have, we can't future proof our career if we're not well enough to work in that. So you want to prioritize wellness and adaptability. Really, really focus on stress management. And I can't say this enough. I think I went through a space during my layoff period. I went through a space where I think I was stressing a lot. So my extremities started to hurt. I felt like my central nervous system was just breaking down on me because I was stressing. I was worried. I was, what's next? I don't know. How do and so being aware, identifying that you have a little bit of stress, or identifying that I had that stress, I really had to start managing a little bit better. But it creeps up on you and you really don't even realize it's there. So really prioritizing wellness and adaptability, spiritually grounding yourself. I am a believer. I am a Christian. So I pray. I read my Bible. I do things that Christians do. And so I encourage, whatever your spiritual grounding is, make sure that you do that and you get into that space. If you meditate, if you do yoga, whatever that is that grounds you spiritually, I stand on the word of God, and I believe that God is able to do those things for me. But I am respectful to those who have different ways. And so work-life balance, These things are non-negotiables. They're not,
Mhm.
it's an essential to have that work-life balance, because flexibility in your schedule, that is our superpower. And the faster you adapt to those things, the further you can go in your career and the better you are with future proofing that thing. Number 7, strengthening your digital presence. I don't know how much to say about this,
Mm.
because a lot of times people are still on paper, and we have moved so far past paper, and we need to really realize that online is not necessarily an option. It's more or less of a requirement in
Mhm.
this day and time. You can still use paper, but you'll be left behind a little bit. So you want to strengthen that digital presence. The same job fair I was at for my clients today, they had this at a community college at Mount Sac. Actually, they have where they had generational learning courses for people in their 60s, 70s, 80s, like retiree courses, so that they can learn how to be, more technologically savvy. Our footprint, our online footprint is our resume, regardless if it's a resume or not. But our online footprint is our resume. And of course, we want our resume to be online. Clients, collaborators, employers, everyone can look you up. No longer do we have the yellow pages. I am totally dating myself. Remember, we used to have the yellow pages, and you just flip through, and I used to flip through and find my mom's name in those yellow pages. We don't have that anymore. So we definitely need to strengthen our digital presence. And then we want to keep our LinkedIn updated, our Indeed updated, whatever platform we have. Um, Even if you're working, I tell people all the time, even if you have a job right now, you're not in a transition, you have a job, you're fine with it, everything is good, you want to future proof. So future proofing includes making sure all of your information is updated and prepared before the disaster happens, before you get that pink slip. Before, I don't think I got a pink slip either, Lacey. Now that I think about it,
I don't know why they call it.
you know what it was? It was the triplicate form back in the day, when one was pink, one was white, one was
Oh, yes,
zero,
yes. The
one
carbon
was
copy.
yeah.
Yeah, carbon copy.
Yes. But yes, you want to definitely showcase your experience online and ask yourself, hey, if someone Googled me today, and I encourage everybody to do this, if someone Googled you today, what would your online presence be? Would it open doors, or would it close them? Would it create some
Mm.
space for you to be, seen in a good light, or would people be like, oh? So make sure you know that. And last but not least, staying financially flexible, which Lacey touched on already. Economic shifts are going to happen. They're happening right now. And so we want to make sure inflation, layoffs, unexpected expenses can derail you. So, like Lacey said earlier, having that emergency fund, I follow Dave Ramsey's financial
Right.
concepts and things, and he has this thing where he talks about having that $1,000 as an emergency fund, because you just never know. You started with 1,000, but you put a little bit at a time in there, and over time, it can save. You can save money, and then you have it when you need it. I know so many people who just don't believe in saving money. Well, you can't take it with you. True, you can't. However, but if you need it, you have it, and it's right there for you. So building that emergency fund, it reduces that unnecessary debt and those unnecessary stressors, and it invests in your assets. And so if you get enough money in there, pull a little bit of it out and make an investment and let it grow. That's what happens when you save the money. I have $1,000 in something, and then you pull out, I don't know, 700, and leave the 300, and you invest that 700, and you watch it grow. But these are things that we don't know oftentimes, but this is why I'm so happy for this space. If you are not financially positioned to pivot, if life throws you a curveball, really, really, really consider doing this. And so future proofing is about just making really small but consistent moves. So now you're not left
Mhm.
scrambling later. So there's some that I would love for you all to start today, but make sure you're able to do this. And I'm just going to go back through them. Stay financially flexible, strengthen your digital presence, prioritize wellness and adaptability, develop you a side hustle, whatever that side gig is, figure it out and do it. Get online, use AI. People are building side hustles with AI right now, and it's legit. It's not against any law, but be creative with that, expanding your network, building your transferable skills, and be a lifelong learner. So thank you so much, Lacy, for this space. And so I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Yeah, that was awesome. I love You Will Hear It Again. Somebody go hear it again. I'm gonna give you credit the first time. The next time, I love this side hustle is like your career insurance.
Yes.
That was like, oh
Yes.
my gosh,
Yes.
I love that because it's the truth. We have insurance for a lot of things. Insurance is because I'm an insurance agent as well. The whole purpose of insurance is transferring risk, right? You want to transfer risk to somebody else. If somebody hits you, you're like, oh, I don't want to be paying all that money. You're transferring the risk to the insurance company, right? So they pick up and they handle any losses. Same thing with medical insurance. You don't want to be paying for the thousands and thousands of dollars for surgeries and everything. You have insurance to transfer that risk. Should you need it? Look, I don't got to go write a check myself.
Right.
I can. That insurance company will kick in. And so I
Yes.
wanted to share this thought. A story was told. There was a young man. He was 32 years old, and he was super excited. He was thinking, "Oh, it's a great idea. I'm getting older. I want to get married, and I want to buy a house." Right. So he was just talking to everybody about it. And, one person was saying, oh, no, you shouldn't get a house. You're going to have to get a mortgage. It's going to be 30 years. That's going to be a long time. That's a
Mhm.
trap. Right. And then another person was like, oh, you'll never stop working. You'll just be constantly working. My parents, they're still working to this day. They can't even retire because they bought a house. And then another person was like, whoa, what if the market crashes? So you bought the house for 500,000 and now it's only worth 300,000. I don't think that's a good idea. Literally, this young man heard it all at 32 years old, but he wanted to buy a house. This was his thing. What he did was he didn't buy the biggest house. He bought the house that he can breathe in. He bought the house
Mhm.
that he could really relax. It wasn't the biggest house in the market. It was the one that he can breathe in, right?
Yeah.
He skipped the granite countertops. He
Yep.
skipped all the what's the smart home. He didn't have all
Yeah.
the bells and whistles. He didn't even
Yep.
have that flashy SUV. So some ladies missed out on a really good man because you know what? He didn't have the Mercedes, but
Yep.
he had a house.
He had
Okay.
a
And
house.
every
Exactly.
month he decided that he was going to put just $50 extra on his
Mhm.
mortgage. It wasn't a whole lot. He just had a plan. He goes, I heard it all. People were saying, what if the market crashes? Don't do this. You'll never stop working. All of this stuff. So $50 he was putting extra to his mortgage. He didn't buy the biggest house. And he called it his future freedom fund. He was
Okay.
just like, if I put this extra $50, I don't know how fast I'm going to be able to pay off this mortgage, but
Right.
one day I'm going to have my freedom. Well, guess what? You guys know life happens. I told you you're going to have trials and tribulations. That's within us. God said that we were
That's
going to
right.
experience that.
That's right.
One spring, he ends up finding out that his company is downsizing, and guess what? He get that pink slip that we don't even see this day. It's white. So he
Right.
gets this pink slip overnight. His job is gone. But guess what? He didn't panic. You know why? Because he didn't have any debt. He was paying
Wow.
slowly his debt off. He was putting an extra $50 toward his mortgage. He had a strong emergency fund, and his mortgage was 4 years ahead by
Wow.
him just paying this $50 a month. So he picked up,
Wow.
once he got laid off, he picked up those freelance gigs, right? He spent more time with his daughter and he started this small business that he always thought about doing, but he was so busy with his job, he never got to start his small business, right? So he
Wow.
started doing his dream job. And our takeaway from this story is it wasn't luck that he did not fall apart when
Mhm.
his job fell apart, right? It
Yeah.
wasn't luck. It was planning, it was discipline, and it
Yeah.
was one small choice at a time,
Yeah.
over and over again. He made one decision every month. You got a decision. He had a decision to make. Am I going to put that extra $50 on this mortgage or am I
Mhm.
going to use it for something else? So remember, you have to be consistent. You have to have discipline, right? And you every day you wake up, okay, I know I'm preaching to myself. Okay, am I gonna eat out today or am I gonna save that money and eat at home? Just get in the kitchen.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm still a work in progress. But I say all that to say, don't be afraid of the small incremental changes. It
Yeah.
may not be big, it may not be $100, it may not be $1,000, but that extra $50 went a long way, and
Wow.
he
4
was
years.
able. I know, 4 years ahead on his
Man.
mortgage, right? He didn't panic when he experienced some pressure because guess what? He planned. He
Yep.
had discipline and
That's
he made
awesome.
smart choices
Mhm.
repeatedly. So I want you guys to make smart choices repeatedly. If you find yourself that you
Yeah.
need help making those smart choices. You need help like, okay, I know I've been in this job. I just got laid off. What do I do? One of those smart choices is picking up the phone or going online, and Dr. Lisa's going to put her information in the chat, is to seek her services, right? Um, Listen, nobody's gonna knock down your door. We're not gonna spam you. We're not gonna tell everybody, "Oh my gosh, you got laid off." You barely can buy food. No, that's not our goal. Our goal is really to help you and
Right.
to see you through this. I'm so glad I had amazing people in my life to walk me through. I've been there. I've been laid off. No warning, no nothing. Okay. I'm glad I had somebody to walk me through it. That's when I started my own business and
Yeah.
haven't looked back.
Yep.
And so sometimes it is a way of God redirecting us, right? But a redirect is not failure. You're not a failure because you get laid off. Listen, a lot of us, and I'm not a failure. So a lot of us
That's
have gotten
right.
laid off,
That's
right?
right.
And so I just want you to be encouraged to seek the help that you need. You're not by yourself. Many of us can share our experience. Why? Because we've been there. Okay. I'd rather take it some knowledge for somebody who's walked that path, or maybe they're currently walking it, or they didn't do so good the first time around and they're like, okay, well, I'll tell you what not to do. I may
Right.
not be the best, but I will tell you what not to do. So um perfectly, this was a get. Let's see if we have any questions. If not, remember you can always direct message us. You can definitely visit our websites, but you can DM us. We check that. We'll answer any questions you have. We'd love to, get on the phone, get on a Zoom to do a consultation with you guys. Remember, she is all things career. You need to get started in the right direction. You need to reinvent yourself. And then I'm all things mortgage and real estate, finance and insurance, just helping you with your budget, helping you make sure that you have housing that is not maxing out your budget, because that's where a lot of your money goes to two main places: your car and
Mhm.
your housing. Some
Yep.
people car note is like 900, $1,000. It's like $700 for a car. I'm like, oh my God.
Right. Right.
And they're stressed about it. And so not only you got the car, but you got the insurance, and then you got the registration. So all of that, call us. We're here to help.
Absolutely.
And this is when you work on and get be prepared, right? You don't get the umbrella when it's raining outside, then you're gonna get wet trying to go get the umbrella. You get your stuff together before a crisis, right? So when it happens,
Yeah.
everybody else may be panicking, but you're not, because you're well prepared. You
Absolutely.
made smart decisions. So I don't think we have any questions tonight. No, yeah, no, I don't think we have any questions. Anything else you want to say?
No, actually, the only thing that I want to say is tomorrow I'm actually celebrating 7 years in business. This is my
Yeah.
7th year as an entrepreneur. A lot of lessons, a lot of growth, a lot of pain, a lot of any and everything. And so I'm excited. I have yet to do the master class that I've been talking about, but I feel like, okay, this is where I need to do it,
Yes,
you know. And so,
years.
yeah, so I'm definitely going to be putting it out there. The flyer is ready, everything is ready. I just haven't I've been doing a couple of other things, and so they, taking precedence. But yeah, so tomorrow is my 7-year anniversary for Leaders for Leaders. So I'm excited. I'm excited. So
Oh, that's
yeah,
awesome. Congratulations.
thank
7
you.
years.
Thank you.
Look, I'm sure she has a lot of wisdom
Yeah.
to help you if you have a challenge and just need somebody to talk to for career coaching, whether it's getting a new job. 7 years, that's a lot of wisdom. Okay. That is a lot of wisdom. I'm sure
Yeah.
that comes with that.
Yeah.
And so since we don't have any questions, we're gonna end tonight. We will be back here to I was about to say tomorrow, I'm so used to saying tomorrow. Um next Wednesday at 7 o'clock with a great topic to help. And then again, I always like, if you're watching the replay, for those who catch the replay, you have questions, you can put them in the chat, you can always DM us. But if there's something that you want to know more about, you're like, whatever. Go ahead, message us. It may be a topic that we already have slated to cover, or we'll take that into consideration because
Mhm.
we want to share information that is going to add value to you, and be able to help you out. We don't want to waste 30 minutes of your time. We want to give you something that you can use and that you can put to use, and you're better as a result.
Yeah.
All right. Well, until next week, I want you to have an amazing evening
Yeah.
and a great remaining week.
All
Talk to you
right.
next week.
All right. See you
Bye.
later. Bye.